Hello readers, today I want to share with you one strategy that you might use to move your notebook entry, your jots and annotations to bigger ideas and bigger thinking. It starts with this process. First, you take your notes as you read and you make your jots. Then you look back over your notes, maybe do some reorganization and make an observation. Then you're asking some questions, maybe doing some self-inquiry. And finally, you state and explain that big idea. Often these entries are going to have quotes, timelines, character details, maybe their theater work, but the final entry is going to be neat and organized. For right now, we're messy because our thinking is messy. So follow along with me as I do some of this thinking with this book called Bridge to Terabithia. I love this book. If you haven't read it yet, highly recommend it. I have a bunch of jots in there, but I just picked two quotes that I highlighted, two short excerpts that I highlighted from the book that I thought, these are really important. So as I was reading, I was highlighting and I was making some little jots and annotations about my thinking to hold on to it. So the first excerpt that I thought was important came from chapter 1, and it goes something like this. It's about Jess, one of the main characters. He liked to put his beast into impossible fixes. He would like to show his drawings to his dad, but he didn't dare. When he was in first grade, he told his father that he wanted to be an artist when he grew up. He thought he would be pleased. He wasn't. So now my next step is to make an observation and maybe ask some questions. And if you're like me, my brain is like, I don't know how to start this. So I sometimes use some thought prompts about this. And the one I like to start with is a thought I have about this is. So a thought I have about this is Jess loves to draw, but his dad isn't supportive. He wasn't pleased. He isn't supportive. And Jess likes to draw his animals trapped. And I'm going to ask a question. I'm wondering why. Like, why does he like to draw his animals trapped? And I'm going to push my thinking a little more with some of these thought prompts. And I'm going to use this makes me realize. I'm going to change it to this makes me think. This makes me think that Jess likes to draw his animals trapped because maybe he feels trapped too. And so maybe these drawings and these animals are a bit of symbolism. I'm going to keep thinking about that. And while I keep thinking about that, I'm going to go on to my next excerpt. The other excerpt that I pulled out that I thought, hey, this is really important and I want to do some thinking about this, is about how Jess feels in Terabithia. It goes like this. They own the world and no enemy, Gary Fulcher, Wanda K. Moore, Janice Avery, Jess's own fears and insufficiencies, nor any of the foes whom Leslie imagined attacking Terabithia could ever really defeat them. So I'm going to use those thought prompts again to make an observation, maybe ask some questions. So a thought I have about this is that Jess is kind of an ordinary kid, but others have a lot of expectations about him. Like they have all these other people that want things from them. And Jess feels really in control in Terabithia, could never be defeated. It's kind of the perfect place for him, but my question is it too perfect? Because one of the things I know about books, as they get more complicated, like things maybe start out one way, but they change to be another, and people too, and characters too. So I'm going to be thinking about that. So I'm going to push my thinking a little more, and I'm going to use this makes me realize, or this makes me think. This makes me think that this is going to be a source of conflict, Terabithia. And I'm also going to be thinking about how will he grow? Maybe it's something in that. All right, so if I think about my process again, I have made my notes. I have made an observation, asked questions, and now I am ready to state and explain. I'm ready to write a bit about these ideas. So my writing might go something like this. Most of my thinking so far is about Jess and how he has so many opportunities to grow. I'm paying attention to how the author sets up the character because I know I can expect things to change, since it's pretty early in the story, and I know that characters change. So if Jess is feeling conflicted about his art and meeting others' expectations, and also trying to figure out what his own standards are, I'm expecting that his growth will be about becoming more comfortable in knowing who he is. Which makes me think about this whole Terabithia thing. It's imaginary. It's artistic like Jeff, imagination is good, but it's also make-believe, which is kid stuff. And maybe his dad is right in a way. Jess needs to grow up. But maybe Jeff's artful spirit will turn out to be something that helps him mature. I'm going to keep reading, and I'm going to keep adding ideas here to find out. So readers, did you see what I did? So I took my notes, my jots, my annotations, what I marked as important as I read. And then I stopped a minute. I stopped my reading to make an observation, ask some questions, and then state and explain those big ideas. Maybe to make this even more powerful, I could include some quotes or timelines, but I did include some character details. All right, readers, I wanted to show you one more thing before you go, because remember, I told you that this work is messy. Thinking is messy. It is not beautiful and neat and organized. It is not those final notebook pages. So I wanted to show you how this work might live in a notebook, not a typed up, computerized, more pretty thing. So this was from a student's notebook about the book Holes. Also a very good book. I would highly recommend. And as this student kept reading and taking jots, they made an observation. And their observation was, I kept noticing some words repeated or ideas that came up. And then they put them down. They were like luck, hope, failure, blame. So they stopped and they asked some questions and they made some observations. So some of the questions they asked, these are these other things that they added on here. So for luck, there's no hope of escape, so it'll take luck to get out. Maybe the lizard is somewhere in the luck. Maybe that's a symbol. I don't know. It seems like his family believes in luck controlling people's lives. So I wonder if that's going to be a theme, something about luck. And then there's also this hope. And so this reader asked a question, is there maybe a hope of breaking the curse? Because what they noticed is Camp Green Lake is hopeless. It failed, it dried up, and the adults are trapped, just like the kids. It's a hopeless place. So how do you get hope there? Why does this hope keep coming up? Finally, Stanley's dad's inventions were failures. Does Stanley think he's a failure is what this student was wondering? And finally, blame. I wonder what Stanley was blamed for. He blames his situation on the curse. So this student was thinking about these big ideas. They went back and asked some questions and made some observations. And finally, here's where they stated their big idea with some explanation. Stanley doesn't seem to have hope right now. He believes his family was cursed, so his actions don't matter, like digging holes. I don't know if he feels like a failure or if he blames his great-great-grandfather's curse. So readers, did you see this writer did the exact same thing? It's messy. They thought about what were the big ideas. They made an observation. These ideas, these words keep coming up. They asked some questions and jotted some thinking, and then they stated and explained. They wrote about it. And after they do this, they are ready to move this even further into maybe a finalized notebook entry, a synthesized page.